Pretty landing pages don't convert, but persuasive ones do. After launching over 600 landing pages in 120 industries, I've discovered a simple formula to do both. Both build landing pages that look mwah, chef's kiss, and print money. Today, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of some of my agency's top performing landing page examples, including this one helping to close a $300,000 offer, this one getting a 91% show up rate for sales calls, and this one generating leads at just $16. You'll learn what they all have in common, why most pretty pages fail, and how to model these proven layouts for your own business. Plus, I'm going to reveal our 4 non-negotiable psychological rules we never break when designing high-converting landing pages and how to deploy them onto your own pages today. So if your funnel's stuck, you need more leads, or you're ready to scale your ads, then this is what you've been looking for. And as a little bonus, at the end, I'll give you access to a free swipe file of our top performing landing pages. All right, let's get started. So imagine walking into a store, asking a question, and the salesperson replies in a completely different language. You'd probably leave, right? But that's exactly what's happening on most of our landing pages. So we recently audited a financial services page, and it was beautiful. It was fast loading, clean design, great visuals, but conversions were terrible. So why? Well, it's because every single word on the page was written in industry jargon. It was speaking at the customer, not to them, right? And there was no mention of what the customer really wanted. No reflection of their fears, their dreams, or their language. And it failed to answer the #1 question on their mind with them. What's in it for me? It was just a wall of features and buzzwords. I think Peter Drucker said it best: the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits him and sells itself. And in my opinion, that's the job of your landing page. It should feel like a one-on-one conversation, like it can read their mind. And when your page speaks their language, it builds trust and it builds buying intent, and it stops sounding like every other competitor out there. Because in a digital-first world, your landing page is really one of your best sales people. And the best salespeople don't confuse people, they connect. So when we nail this, you're gonna get results just like this client. You could be getting results like a 91% show up rate from your Facebook ads and have leads saying it literally feels like you can read their minds. So let me introduce you to the first of the 4 non-negotiable psychological rules for high converting landing pages, and that is to use your target market's language. Now team, our goal here is simple. It's to enter the conversation going on in their mind and show them that we understand them. So let me show you how this looks in some of our examples. Okay, so let me show you 3 examples real quick. You can see here we have the above the fold. We have a big headline that's clear. We've got a clear call to action and a subhead. We have some proof, and then we get into what is called the lead. The lead is the section under the above the fold. The above the fold is the first section, AKA before we start to scroll. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on this section right now, the lead, right? And what you're gonna see is, again, we have the above the fold, we have the headline, we have the call to action, we have some proof. Here we have some USPs, but now we're starting to get into the lead. Same thing here, the above the fold, the headline, the subhead, the call to action, some proof, but now we're getting into the lead. And now we can see, okay, what do all of these examples have in common straight away? Straight away on this page, we are talking to somebody one-to-one, and we've given the page a voice, right? So even though we understand who we're talking to, and ideally your target market has a clear avatar with a name and you know who they are, well, now we have to know who is the landing page, who is this digital salesperson, and what's their tonality, and how are we going to talk to them? So each of these pages, #1, comes from a person, comes from a real person in the company. Now, what you'll also notice on these pages is that straight away we want to show them that we understand them. So each of these pages are using a pretty typical direct response copy format, which is PASS. Problem, agitate, solve. And with some of these campaigns, I'll show you one where we do it a little bit differently in a second. They're quite long and almost like a mini sales letter in themselves. So the very first thing we want to do is, if we think about the context and how somebody lands here, they've clicked an ad, they've landed here, and the point of the headline is to get them to keep scrolling, to get looking. Cool, this has hooked them in, and now they're thinking, sure, but is this for me? And that's the question we need to answer next. Now, before we can start talking about our product and how good we are, well, we have to show them that we understand them. And so what's important here on the landing page is to say, yes, we understand where you are, we understand where you want to go, and here's how we're the vehicle to get you from A to B. That's what we want to do in our copy here. So you can see here straight away with the problem, we've identified these top 3 problems on each of these pages. The top 3 problems where someone's going to go, yes, you understand me. Now, we don't always use super long form leads like this. Often when it's like, we only really work in high ticket, but it depends where they are in their different levels of awareness. Let me show you this finance page as an example when we talk about the lead, because we don't have to do as much education. Those other pages I was showing you, they were more in problem aware. They know what their problem is, but they don't really know what solution they're looking for. Whereas on this finance page, they know their problem and they know the solution that they're looking for, right? So you can see here, the lead is a lot smaller. We don't have to do as much work in the lead. We can talk more about the product because people are actually looking for the product. So here still though, we want to use the language. And when we were working with this client, we surveyed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of their past customers so that we could actually understand, well, why do they use this? What's the language that they use? How do they articulate their crappy before state? And that's how we came up with the headline for the lead. Then we have a short paragraph showing that we understand them. But here's something else that I wanted to show you about this target market, right? And you can see here what we're doing is we're contextualizing the benefit into their lives. So we're showing them, okay, nobody wants just like money, right? It's like, well, what are you gonna do with the money and how does it change your life? So that's what we wanted to do on this page. So even as we continue to scroll through the pages, marketing's just inputs and outputs. You'll see throughout, all we're doing is using their language. Just like we've gone in and ripped a page out of their journal, right? And we can see here, but now you're dealing with HR headaches, staff retention issues, low profitability, and a toxic work culture. That's not our client's language and it's not our language. That's the verbatim language that we found when we were researching them. And they're gonna be reading this going, yes, I actually understand. So going back to this finance example, right? When we're doing this page, we're not using all of this super complex, crazy legal jargon like the client would be using internally. We're not talking about the underwriting process and all of this crazy stuff that goes on. Instead, what we're really talking about is the dream outcome, right? Because none of us really sell a product or a service. We just sell entry into a desired after state, a dream outcome. And that's what we want to focus on our page, because that's what people are actually buying. They're not buying the plane ticket, they're buying the destination. Okay, so that's number 1 that you'll notice on all of these pages. When you read through the copy, you'll be able to see how it is in the target market's language, not in industry jargon. If you do want to check out any more of these, you can head to the portfolio on my website, persuasionexperience.com, click on portfolio, and you can go and check out way more of these pages. But for now, it's important to know you're not just competing with your competitors, you're competing with over 10,000 different marketing messages a day. And your audiences, your target market's brain deletes most of them without even noticing, right? But there's a reason people stop scrolling when they see something different. Our brains are hardwired for it. Studies show that when we see something new, it lights up the same part of our brain responsible for pleasure and motivation. So yes, novelty, new, it releases dopamine in our brains. Your brain literally rewards you for discovering something new you haven't seen before. So when your marketing looks like everyone else's, when your messaging is the same vanilla garbage that your competitors put out, of course, you're going to get ignored, right? And the brands that are winning are the ones that know how to stand out. They leverage novelty. They craft messaging that feels new, fresh, and specific to the market, because that's how you hijack attention, and we're living in an attention economy. And that is how you get your dream clients to stop scrolling and start listening. So friends, that brings us to the second of the 4 non-negotiable psychological rules for high converting landing pages. It's your messaging. Let's look at how this looks in our landing page examples. Okay, so for this client in the home building space, we needed to come up with a new campaign for his granny flats or guest house, right? The boring, typical, normal way would be to just copy the competitors. Look at what other people are doing and rip it off, right? But we need to show not just how we are better, but different. So on this campaign, instead of being like granny flats, guest homes, etc., we wanted to call it something else. Something that was going to trigger new, because people already had preconceived ideas, misconceptions, etc. about a granny flat or a guest house. So instead, for this campaign, we called it a luxury mini home. Oh, ding, 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 that is new. I want to know more. And then they start to read the rest of the page. They start to engage with the rest of our sales person. So let me show you this with another home builder that we've worked on before. And for this was more for the offer. So for the offer, instead of saying get a free quote or something boring like that, we called it a champagne design consultation. And the way that we positioned this client was as Dallas's top remodeling and additions firm, right? So it's new, it's different, it doesn't sound like the rest of the noise in the market. It's new, fresh messaging to enter the market with. Whereas for this client who has more of like a high ticket coaching program, the way that we entered the market with very unique messaging was through their proprietary system. So we can see here this 4-pillar profit audit system. That is something new, and that triggers, what's that? I haven't heard of that before. So far we've done it in the way that we call the product or the service. We've done it in the way that we do our offer to get the lead, and we've done it in the way that we explain the proprietary system. You can also have other big messaging or unique messaging in the way that you describe what you do. So for example, with this client, when we were interviewing them in the onboarding process, because that's what being a good marketer is you do a good interview and ask good questions. They said something a little bit offhanded, and they were like, yeah, it's the lost art. Now, to give you a little bit of context, these guys have brick and mortar stores and they massage out, like they actually fix you. Unlike a physio or whatever, like they actually fix your back. They have this whole process. But they also have a very hyper successful coaching program for people around the world to actually learn this, like massage therapists to actually learn this. And when they were talking about the origin story and how they had learned this, they were calling it the lost art, like it was the lost art. And we were really like, yeah, that's super interesting. So we tested it out at the ad level, and that's how we had this unique messaging for this. Now that was important for this campaign because we understood our market, we understood the conversation going on in their head, and we understood what they had already tried before, okay? They'd already tried other programs, they'd gone to uni, whatever, and it didn't work. So this had to sound not just better, but new. Because if it sounded like more of the same of what they've already tried, why would they give our client any money? Why would they even want to talk to them on a sales call? So this lost art helped it to sound different to what they had tried before, tried and failed with. Okay, so we have using the language of the target market, and we have this unique messaging that's going to stand out from your boring competitors. But if your landing page makes you look like just another option, then guess what? That's exactly how your market will treat you. And we once worked with a client who was super frustrated. Actually, to be honest, this happens all the time because he felt like he had the best service in his space, right? Better results, better client experience, better retention. But who cares if nobody knows that in your market? So his calendar, crickets, right? Why? Because he could not communicate his value to the market. It doesn't matter if you have the best product if nobody knows. So when people were landing on his landing page, it just didn't scream authority. It didn't build status. It didn't frame him as the expert. It positioned him as just another. It turned him into a commodity. So as soon as we reworked his messaging and his landing page to build that authority by using specificity and expert language and proof, his results totally flipped. His leads not only showed up and were qualified, but they came pre-sold. So here's the truth, right? The sales process does not start on the sales call. The sales process, it starts in your marketing and on your landing page. If you want qualified premium leads that show up ready to buy, then you need to show up as the authority from the first click. People don't chase the best product, they chase the person who looks like they know what they're doing. And being an authority also gives you pricing power, right? It gives you a lot of other things. So this is the third of the 4 non-negotiable psychological rules for high converting landing pages, and it is authority and social proof. Let me show you how to execute this on your landing page. So a simple way to really show authority and proof can just be through the USPs, right? These little USP badges and big numbers. Super simple that we have on both of these pages. Although additionally, for example, on these pages, we're showing real people, real results, real people that people have got by using these products and services. What we want to build here when we talk about authority and social proof is not just credibility, but also believability, right? Are people going to actually believe that you can achieve the dream outcome that we have promised that we can get them? So as an example on this page for a client in the property investment niche, we deployed one of the strategies that I know works really well. And it's this formula, being able to show that you have a proven, repeatable system. Proven meaning that you did it for yourself, repeatable meaning that you did it for others. So we show, okay, Bruno, who is awesome and helps people to invest in property, he has done it for himself. That makes you a bit of an authority, right? It means you eat your own dog food. But he's also helped all of these other people, okay? Believability, credibility, you have a proven, repeatable system. Now we did the same here for this client. We were saying, hey, we were a vet, just like you. We were having these problems. We understand that's how we came up with this system. All we're really doing is using that hero's journey format in some way, right? But why this works is because we are having this proven, repeatable system, and then we're doing something called affinity links. Affinity links. How can I show that I was just like you, I am just like you, you can see yourself in me, and now I can help to take you where I have gone. Now, again, when we're doing these coaching pages, they need to be a little bit more hardcore on this stuff, right? We did the same thing here, after 25 years of devoting my life to helping people, trying everything under the sun. It's yeah, I was just like that. We don't always have to do that as hardcore on maybe some of our finance pages, right? It's just hey, do you want this? We got it, we're good, here's the proof. So authority is still important because it sets the frame, but more so then we're starting to use social proof so that we're removing the friction of taking action. So you can see here, we might use testimonials, fine. And an example on this page showing tangibly what's the end outcome, proving that we have the results. We might use native proof. It's a bit ugly, but that's good. It's a pattern interrupt. Or you might use things like video testimonials and make sure that you have these little headlines so that it's forced consumption. People actually have to read people to actually watch the video. If you want to go deeper on social proof, watch my 12 proven social proof hacks to get more leads, and I'll show you them all in there. Okay, for now though, I want you to think about the biggest brands you know, okay? For example, Domino's didn't just say order pizza, they said 30 minutes or it's free. Casper didn't say buy a mattress, they said try it for 100 nights, we'll pick it up if you hate it. And Geico didn't say get insurance, they said 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. So every one of those businesses, they didn't just sell a product, they led with an industry dominating offer that gave the market something clear, something compelling, and something safe to say yes to. Remember that word safe. But in businesses like mine, an agency, and probably like yours, when we focus on lead generation, we forget this one thing. You have to get a lead before you can get a sale, which means before you can close a sale, you need to earn the lead. Someone has to want to talk to you, right? So we need to make sure we have an offer that's safe for our market to become a lead, then they can become a sale. The problem I see is 98% of businesses are out here trying to convince people to book a call, right? The truth is, we don't need better arguments. We just need a better offer. Because what I've learned from all of the trauma of doing lots of marketing is the offer is the most important part of your landing page, of your whole marketing. And it is the fourth and final one of our psychological conversion levers for your landing page. It is the thing that our digital salesperson is going to use to get someone to take action, right? Now, broadly speaking, there are two different types of offers to get a lead. Number one is the consultation offer, and number two is the ready now offer. Let me show you some examples. Now, basically, when you're figuring out, okay, should it be a consultation offer or a ready now offer? This just depends on where they are in their levels of awareness, which you can see if you read Eugene Schwartz's 5 stages of awareness. Now, when we're deciding whether it's a consultation or a ready now offer, we just have to understand what's the conversation we're entering and what level of awareness do they have. I'm referring to the level of awarenesses from Eugene Schwartz's book, Breakthrough Advertising, right? They can be problem aware, they can be solution aware, or they can be product aware. And all we're trying to do when we create an offer is to create the next micro step, right? We're not looking for this big knockout punch. We want to put something in front of them that feels safe, that's going to get them to take the next step. Because while our sales process kind of does start in the marketing, we're not trying to get them to close into a high ticket deal on this page. Instead, we're trying to get them to become a lead. So here's an example. Consultation offer, free design consultation. Another consultation offer, but when we get to things like finance where they know what they need, right? It's not, hey, find out why you have cash flow problems. No, they have a bleeding neck. They know what the solution is that they want, and they might know that your solution is the right one. So all we want to do is go, hey, I think we have the right thing for you. Get on this call, do this next step, and we'll see. Now, that's just a very high level overview of offers. I have a full 3-hour workshop if you want more, but if you do want to truly master offer creation and take it to the next level, then just watch this video next, which is copy this offer strategy behind $100 million in sales, and you will be able to see a more in-depth breakdown of this consultation versus ready now offer. Hope you enjoyed today's video. See you on the next one.